welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are, and I hope you're staying safe. So I'm really excited to announce a project that I have decided to start working on for this channel, documenting my experience with immigrating to the United States from start to finish. I wanted to start documenting my experience with timelines, logistics, paperwork, and even just my emotional experience. And I definitely think that this will be a great resource in the future for somebody who is trying to pursue an immigration route to the United States. If you clicked on this video and you're a little bit confused as to why I'm talking about immigration, don't click away just yet. I think this video can be useful for you and your partner as you guys are moving onto a next more serious step in your relationship, whether it's moving in together, getting married, or having a child, or pursuing immigration just like we did. For this video, I interviewed my husband. We sat down together and I asked him some of the questions that he would want other people to know when getting into a big next step in someone's relationship, not necessarily immigration. A lot of the questions in this video will probably touch upon immigration process. However, I do think that a lot of these points of discussion can be extremely useful to those of you who are maybe coming from different backgrounds, maybe you're different racially or culturally, or maybe you just have different upbringings. So I have my notes right here. I will be referring to them as we go along, and let's get started. Okay, so the first point that my husband and I have come up with was that in whatever situation you're going through with your partner, whatever big event it is, it's extremely important to be empathetic and consider each other's feelings. It's also important to remember that although both of you are going through this together, each of you may be experiencing this in a completely different way. Validate your partner's feelings, because just because something is not stressful for you doesn't mean it's not stressful for them, and vice versa. And I also think that in situations like these, it really helps sometimes to have a partner who is kind of almost feeling a little bit opposite. So if you're stressed out about something, a partner who is not will really be helpful to you to stay grounded and keep calm and maintain composure while processing these events. Of course, if none of you is stressed out, it's like the best case scenario, but what I'm saying is the worst case scenario would be if both of you were extremely stressed out and not being able to function properly, then it really would be a lot more difficult. The next point that we have come up with was that it's not an easy thing. Whatever event you're going through is not easy, and it's not going to be easy for a while. So some examples can be immigration, having a child together, or getting married, such as, planning your wedding months or even a year in advance. These things are something that will last a long time, and just being prepared that it will last a long time. It's not something that's just gonna happen and then just go away. So understanding that this is the kind of stress that will be prolonged, and really being there for one another, really supporting each other. Again, in situations where your partner is losing their mind and they're just finding this extremely unbearable and hard to deal with, being there for them and supporting them through this time. And just understanding that, of course, it's going to last a long time, but it's not never ending. And eventually things will get back on track and will get better. The next point that we have come up with was having a really good idea of your finances, your financial situation, your spending habits, and being prepared to budget. In the situation where you are being a sponsor for your spouse who is trying to immigrate, it can be extremely difficult to be the sole breadwinner for the foreseeable future. Advice I would give to the partner who is immigrating is that it's understandable that you are not able to contribute financially necessarily, but it's important to try to contribute in other ways, such as, maintaining the household or helping your spouse, making their life a little bit easier while they're working and bringing home the money. At the same time, the advice I would give to the spouse who is the citizen spouse is your spouse that is reliant on you financially may feel like a burden, the advice I would give you is to not make them feel like a burden. Letting them know that you have signed up for this, understanding that this will put on some kind of financial stress on you, and really making them feel like you're still appreciative of everything they do for you without being able to contribute financially. Again, understanding that for the time being, when an event like this happens, and I'm not just saying just immigration. For example, if your partner is having a child and for some time they are unable to work full-time, or they are unable to contribute financially, understanding that a lot of the bills will be going towards medical fees, or if your partner is going through a health situation and they cannot work full-time, that really being supportive to them and appreciating them for things that they can contribute to your guys' relationship other than financial things. The next thing that my husband brought up, which I think is an extremely valid point, is really getting to know one another. And what he meant was really getting to know each other's goals and objectives in life when it comes to really big, important things, such as whether or not you would like to get married, whether or not you would like to have children, whether or not you would like to live in a house or an apartment in a city or suburbs. What are your views on religion? What are your spiritual views? What are your views on education? What are your views on family traditions, spending free time together, spending money? So a lot of these things usually come up for most couples over a long period of time as they live together, to really have a good idea of what each of you guys wants from life. My husband and I have been together for 5 years, so we definitely had these conversations come up over these 5 years. Some of them, each of our opinions have changed, so it's important to continue to bring those things up. But again, I want to remind you that these are some of the things to be aware of, and really narrowing down some of the deal breakers that you might have, because during this, whatever the big event in your life can make or break your relationship, and you don't want to jump into something and then find out that your guy's goal at the end of this was completely different. In situations like immigrating to another country, for example, this can take many years, and those can be potentially formative years for you and your partner when it comes to, building your life and creating your authentic self. So it's important that you don't treat this as a temporary situation that I can just wait and see, and then eventually, once all of this is over, I'm going to be free to do whatever I want. Before you really commit to something like this, have these conversations. Feel out each other's intentions in this, and feel out each other's goals. Because if there's things that definitely don't match up and really show you that you are going to be miserable with this person, and then you're just like giving up your time for them just to complete this step, then I don't think it would be worth it. Again, don't take it as something you should run away from because these things come up and you may have some differences. Discuss them, talk about them. Maybe there are some things that you can compromise on, and really decide on your deal breakers. The next thing that I think is very important is understanding that your partner, your immigrant partner, at times may be feeling lonely or limited or homesick, and really being there for them. What I mean is your immigrant partner, especially if you are their sponsor, may be reliant on you not only financially, but they may not be able to communicate in English or get around, or they may not have the financial freedom to do whatever they please. They may not have a driver's license and not being able to get around. The other thing I would say is understanding that your partner has left behind their family, and now you're their family. So really being there for them at times when they may be feeling lonely or homesick. The next point kind of builds upon that as well. You are now becoming this partner's family. If you really want them to feel that even though they're giving up a part of their life that they have built in another country for you, they're coming here, just really, being there for them and validating their feelings and making them feel welcome, making them feel understood and heard, giving them an opportunity to feel involved and included, and sometimes even busy, to keep them occupied from feeling lonely or homesick. So the next point is knowing when to set boundaries with your families. What I mean is a lot of the times when you are putting together two people who are coming from different families, different backgrounds, a lot of the times things can get complicated when each of your families have certain opinions about your partner. Know when to tell your family to back off, because even though they may have certain opinions about certain things, they may have certain opinions about your partner, whatever it may be, these things should only be discussed between you two, and being able to really tell your family to back off, because at the end of the day, you are the one who has decided to be with your partner, and it's no one else's business. Really not allowing your family's opinion intercept into your guys' relationship. The next point I would like to mention is don't be afraid to build your life. So basically what I mean is, while there is an event that's happening, such as, again, I'm giving most of my examples for immigration, a lot of the times, and I believe a lot of the people who are in my shoes or have been in my shoes can definitely relate. Constantly kind of feeling like, oh, I would like to build my life here. I would like to purchase a certain thing. I'm saying like making a big purchase, building a house building a household together, and stuff. And constantly feeling apprehensive about that, because on the one hand, you want to live your life, you want to enjoy things, you want to do certain activities, but on the other hand, you're just like constantly catching yourself on a thought, oh, well, what if my documents don't get approved, and what if I have to return back to my home country? So that constantly in the back of your mind can really tarnish your experience. So really not being afraid to build your living, because at the end of the day, like I mentioned earlier, things like that can take up months or even years, and it's important to continue to live your life. An example I could give from our relationship was getting a pet together. Getting Rona was the best decision, hands down. Of course, in the very beginning, I was a little bit apprehensive before we even got her, but we started talking about getting a cat. I knew that I was going to get attached to this pet, and I was just so afraid that what if things are not going to work out and I have to return? My heart will break if I have to leave her behind. And we have decided to do it anyway, because if you're constantly living in that fear of what if I have to leave, what if this is not going to work out, you're going to basically just be anxious the entire time, and you're not going to be able to enjoy these years of your life. Yes, they're going to be stressful. Yes, it's going to take a long time, but don't forget to live your life. Whatever you believe, this is the only life you have to live, and you might as well enjoy it to the fullest. And lastly, the thing that I want to mention is, in any stressful event, things will get harder. Sometimes they will be easier, but either way, you're going to argue, you're going to have conflicts, you're going to be mad at each other. So during those times, it's normal to have arguments, but just remember that when you do have them, put yourself in your partner's shoes, be empathetic, be a good listener, and really keep in mind the common goal that you guys are pursuing here, and that is to build a life together, that is to complete something together, because at the end of the day, you guys are the two people who are going through this. Be there for one another. and really don't forget why you have begun this process in the first place. That was that. So this video was very long. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Please let me know what you think. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 8,000 subscribers, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!